be strong.
Guys, welcome back to a new episode of the Big Phat podcast, sponsored, powered by CrossFit Green, fueled by Sweat and Reset, and supported by Phat Nutrition, Phat Barbell, and Phat Gymnastics. Guys, welcome back. We have Roberta Tabone.
Roberta.
Thanks
for having me.
For you guys that are members in the gym, you might remember Bob just before COVID was a coach here, but she is now you're a fully recognised international weightlifter, yes?
Yeah, sort of, yeah. You want to call it that, yeah.
You have a fancy little letter from the Maltese government.
I do. It puts me in that, place where it's like, training and all is important, so, yeah.
As you guys know, obviously lockdown, only elite level athletes are allowed to train, and as we just mentioned there, Bob has that letter from the Maltese government which qualifies her as an elite level athlete. But what I'll ask you, Bob, that I ask every other person that comes on, your first love was CrossFit, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, if you could have a podcast with Matt Frazier or Rich Froning, who would you pick?
Hands down, Rich Froning.
Really, Rich?
Yeah.
You go Rich as well?
I'd go with Rich, yeah.
I thought you'd follow Sonia and go with Matt.
So, with Rich, I read his book as well, and I know he's, very much into his, religion, and he really believes in God and all that, but... apart from that, I like his, mentality when it comes to training. Yeah. And even when you see him competing, when he's under a lot of pressure, he still thinks, like some people when they're under a lot of pressure, they kind of panic, and you can see that he remains so composed when he's, doing the open or if it's in the CrossFit Games. And he'd just try and come up with anything that would, get him a second or 2 seconds in front of someone else, like who's in the second place. I just think it's amazing how he's still able to use his brain, as well.
Just love his composure.
Yeah, that's it.
You're a weightlifter, so you need loads of composure, though, don't you?
Well, yeah, you kind of have to have that composure
and keep calm.
Going on. See, I'm I get so nervous when I know I have a competition coming up. And like the first few weeks is fine because, you're just training away and be like, oh, sure, look, I have a competition. It's a couple of weeks, from now. But when it comes to the week before and a couple of days before the competitions, it's bound to happen because obviously, you just want to perform well and you want to transfer all you've been working so hard for, into very good results on stage.
I suppose you only get, 6 moments?
That's it. 3 for the snatch and 3 for the clean and jerk. And I think the hardest one is obviously the first snatch, because I always try and make sure that I get my first snatch because it does build my confidence when I'm trying to attempt for the second and third. At least I know. So the way it works in weightlifting, if you fail all your snatch attempts, then you're automatically eliminated from the competition.
Oh, really? You don't get to clean and jerk?
Yeah, you don't get to clean and jerk in, official kind of ranking competition. So it's important that, you get that, first attempt of snatch or second at least, and it builds your confidence then for the rest of the competition.
But if you weren't nervous, do you think you really cared?
No, I think I've learned now to use that kind of nervousness into, a good thing, kind of gets me going with the adrenaline and all that. But you also kind of need to control your thoughts as well, because it's a mental game when you go for competitions. It's like, it's a very tough weight, it's going to be hard, to lift this, but it's just like battling all those thoughts in your head and be like, no, I can do this, I can crush this,
you got this, Bob. So as well, when Roberta came over here, I don't know how it started, Dave started calling you Bob, and it's been so hard to move off of it.
Yeah.
I remember we asked you one day, is it okay if we call you Bob? And you were just like, you can call me Berta, but I'd rather you can call me Bob.
So I prefer Berta, yeah.
We tried to stop calling you Bob, but we just couldn't. And then T started giving out to me and Dave. We were just like, you're not to call her that.
She still does.
Yeah. She tapered off a little bit because it was becoming a lot of work for her. Because it's just so hard to stop calling you Bob once it happened.
I learned to embrace it, I suppose. If I showed that I hate it,
Do your parents know we call you Bob?
I don't think I told them, no. Why
Jack didn't tell him when he went over, no?
He knows, and sometimes he calls me Bob just for the crack.
Just to wind you up, is it?
Yeah.
You weightlift at 71 at the moment.
Yeah,
So we
the
were
weight
kind of
class.
just chatting a small bit about this before we started. You originally were an under 69er. So there's different weight categories in weightlifting. They changed them only last year. So originally Bob's goal was to stay under 69.
Yeah, so when I started, it was 3 years ago. The first competition I did for weightlifting was actually here in Ireland. There was the Leinster Championships, and I competed there under the 69 category. But recently they
Under
changed...
69 what?
I say category. Category.
Just to clarify again, Bob is Maltese. She's not Irish.
Yeah.
Category.
I'm allowed to mess up.
So you were under the 69 category.
Yeah, 69 category. And they recently bumped it up to 71.
Yeah.
So, you know, just like I'm sitting at a more kind of comfortable weight now. Obviously, when I don't compete, you know, I don't really mind sitting a kilo or two over the 71. Obviously, then I start to cut weight if I know that I have an important competition coming up.
Yeah.
So I try and lose that kilo or two before the competition. So yeah,
What
it's
was
very competitive. It's a very competitive
weight category
weight class.
When you were at the 69, what was the lower option?
The lower option is 69. I think it was 63. Yeah.
So you'd have to go to 63 if you wanted to cut down, or was there a 66
Yeah,
there?
63. No, there is a little bit of a difference, you know, just like if you had to bump down. And I know, you know, a few of my friends who also compete in weightlifting, they had to really cut down, lose a lot of kilos.
Really?
Yeah, like there was one girl, I think she was on the British team, she had to lose about 8 kilos in a very few, you know, couple of weeks, which is not healthy at all.
That is not good for your body,
it's
man.
It's not, like, it's completely nuts. And the things you do, for example, let's say you go into the competition on the day and you realize that you're like 2 or 3 kilos over. And obviously your nutrition, you know, you haven't been 100% compliant with your nutrition, then, you know, you go to the sauna and try and just, you know, sweat it out. But obviously, like, you're you know, just mentally not there when you go for your competition.
The knock-on effect. Have you had to do an actual, like, stress or weight cut at all?
I haven't, thankfully, not so far.
That's good.
So I've always kind of said, and I think, you know, having the CrossFit as well with the weightlifting helps, you know, because it has, obviously with nutrition as well, but yeah.
Which do you prefer, weightlifting or CrossFit?
I kind of go, you know, through periods where I'm like, oh, I just love CrossFit, and then I go through, you know, periods where I'm like, oh, you know, weightlifting, maybe you just focus on. So I've been in both, you know, situations where I'm like, you know, but I think at the end of the day, I still like CrossFit because it's just like what it does to your body, and you feel so great after it. Weightlifting is such a frustrating sport, especially if you do it on your own. Yeah. It's just like lifting, you know, those weights every day, you know, for a good hour or two. I think CrossFit is great because you get a lot of variety of things to do.
We were talking about that last week, I think, with Dave and Sonia. Just like any kind of elite level sport, kind of like it's the amount of times I've seen you in that back corner just on your own, snatching, doing a power snatch. It wasn't right. Doing a power snatch. Yeah. It wasn't right. Doing a power snatch. There we go.
And it's just like, you know, obviously you have very bad days in training where it's like sometimes, you know, I try and get a session in, but I'll modify it on the day because there's no point in me if I've had, like, obviously I have to consider that I work a full-time job. So if I know that I had a very tough day in work, you know, and I have like very heavy sets of, you know, snatches or clean and jerks, I'm like, that's just not going to happen. I know I'm going to be disappointed, you know, at the end of the session. So I'll just tailor it down from the beginning, or try and do squats instead, or, you know, something just more, not as technical.
Just do something to cheer you up a little bit.
Yeah, to cheer me up. Exactly. Just have a good session at the end of the day. I think that's very important. So, yeah.
And any upcoming plans? Have they any? I suppose it's kind of hard with COVID, but have they any competitions in the pipeline?
Well, I was preparing for the Europeans, and surely you have to kind of do a qualifier for that. Before, I think the deadline was about 7th of February. So that didn't happen. Obviously here it's level 5 lockdown. Other countries had like you know, online competitions, or they hosted, like in Malta they did host an actual competition for people who wanted to qualify for it. they're still not 100% sure if they want to, hold the Europeans or the way they're going to hold Europeans. So I think this year is just, it's a little bit messed up for competitive sports, really.
It is.
And yeah.
What will they do? So what did you have to do to qualify for Europeans when it does?
I'd have to lift 181 kilo total. So that is obviously distributed between the snatch and the clean and jerk. So I was aiming for maybe an 81 snatch or an 80 snatch and then 101, clean and jerk.
Yeah.
So that would be the minimum to qualify in the 71 category. Category. Weight class, that's it.
Then what happens then if you want to qualify for the Olympics in weightlifting? So I'm assuming you have to qualify for Europeans before they allow you.
Obviously, yeah. There's different qualifiers. There's the Commonwealth Games as well. That has always been, my aspiration to actually qualify for it. And then there's the Worlds as well. So there's different competitions that you need to do, and you obviously need to achieve a certain weight, which is like, let's say for the Europeans it's much higher than to qualify like for Commonwealth, and it's even much higher than to qualify for the Olympics. So it's pretty tough.
So like the kind of standards would be Europeans, the Commonwealth, and then
the bigger the competition, or
the Olympics.
it's like obviously the bigger weights you have to be lifting. So
what you have to is Malta in the Commonwealth?
It is, yeah. That's why I'm like, I'd love to go. It'll be.
What you have to lift to go to that?
I think it was about 10 kilos more than the
so
191. Yeah, so it's a little bit more.
And then
anyway,
201 then to go to the Olympics.
And then a little bit more, but I'd have to quit the nursing and just focus entirely on the weightlifting.
And how old are you?
26, going 27.
When are you 27?
I'm 27 in November. And
that's ages
18th
away.
of
You're not
November,
going on 27. You just turned 26.
Yeah. I actually don't feel like, because last year has been so, you don't feel like you actually had a birthday.
Yeah.
So we just forgot what age you are. But yeah, like the young athletes that are coming up are just incredible. Even, in Malta and in any other country really. But yeah, to be like,
weightlifting not kind of a sport where a lot of people thrive in their 30s though?
Is this Fergal?
Pardon?
In their 30s?
Yeah.
It depends. If you see the Chinese, I'd say definitely, I'd say around the 30s. But no, the young ones are just incredible. Honestly, like the weights they can find a 15-year-old or 16-year-old who can lift more than someone who's been 6 years maybe in weightlifting.
But how long would they have been training for?
They would have maybe started at the age 10. I don't think they would start. There's people who would start them at an earlier age, but I think just to be, safe with weights and all. I know a few girls have started at the age of 10.
Really?
Yeah, and there's a girl she's Tanisha, is her name. She's 15 years old and she can already snatch 72 and clean and jerk 87 kilos.
I think you were showing me her. I think you showed me her.
Yeah, so she has qualified for the Europeans.
She's a Maltese girl, isn't she?
She's a Maltese girl, yeah. And she is the second best youth in her weight category in the world. So it's like, oh my God, you're from Malta. It's great.
And is there a strong weightlifting heritage? There is a good weightlifting, I suppose, heritage in Ireland. I don't think it really got as big as it is until kind of CrossFit kind of picked up a little bit, put more barbells in hands. But is there a good history of weightlifting in Malta?
I wouldn't say history. Lately, it is becoming very popular.
Do you think that's because of CrossFit or just because of weightlifting?
One thing, it could be because of CrossFit, because obviously a lot of people, like the same as I was introduced to weightlifting through CrossFit. Yeah. So a lot of people kind of take that, direction and then just realize they love weightlifting. Basically it's starting to become very popular with the young ones, and
with the young ones,
because now
it's getting popular with the young ones. That's it. Because soccer, obviously, football is popular in Malta, but now I think weightlifting now is really getting up there. Obviously, Malta is its own country. It has its own football team. Yeah.
Yeah, some football team. Yeah.
Does it? Jesus, Bob, you can't say it with some confidence.
They're grand, obviously, it's not amazing, but just taking into consideration the amount of people that live on the island, it's...
How many people actually live in Malta?
I'd say it's a bit less than 500,000, so...
500,000?
Yeah.
I thought it was bigger than that.
God, no, it's
tiny. How small is Malta,
I think last time I checked, compared to the county of Dublin, it's about half the size, or maybe...
Of Dublin?
Of County Dublin, yeah.
Dublin's
something like
tiny.
Well, see, that's the thing. I'm coming from an even smaller island. I moved to a bigger island.
How long does it take to drive coast to coast in Malta?
From north to south, like if you take away the traffic, right, it would probably take you about 45 minutes to maybe an hour. So, yeah.
Is there a motorway in Malta?
God, no, not at all.
No, all single carriageway.
Yeah, they're all like, just common roads and, yeah.
Where's the airport then if the county's that small? The country's that small.
It's like right in the middle of Malta, yeah.
It's a nice country though?
Lovely country, yeah.
Yeah.
I do miss the weather and obviously my family, but yeah, the weather is great there.
What's wrong with our weather?
Oh, there's nothing wrong with your weather.
It's wet and cold. There's plenty wrong with
today,
our weather.
Like, yeah, it's just...
The last few days have been good.
I can't, my body's not, I think I haven't gotten used to the very cold weather yet. I still need a few more years to just adjust.
You never get used to it.
Never.
Every year I say this to Kelly, I hate it. I just hate it. And Kelly's like, oh no, I really like it. Like you get to wrap up in your own cozy and stuff.
God,
and I'm like,
no. No, just give me the warmth and just give me the sun.
Like even though I'm a redhead and I burn quite easily, I'll happily do it. I just can't be dealing with the cold, man. Can't be dealing with the cold. Are you going to do the CrossFit Open this year?
I was actually thinking about this. I might do it. I'll just have a look at the first workout and then be like, maybe I'll do it, maybe. I just have to do it with somebody, I think. I'll see. They're all home workouts, so we do have a little bit of equipment. 2 categories,
I think, but they'll have a home one. I'm hoping I think it's the 5th of March it starts, so I'm hoping we're open that Monday so we can actually do it in the gym.
Exactly, yeah. Oh, that'd be great for people, if we could do it all together, like it'd be amazing. Rather than doing it at home on your own, like.
So when they changed the structure of the CrossFit Games and they had the national champion wherever your passport was from, where did you finish in Malta that year?
Oh, I finished 4th, I think.
4th?
Yeah. So the first and the third girl that plays, they're full-time athletes basically, because they do a little bit of PT on the side, but they just train twice a day almost.
And they don't have to do a full-time job nursing, just a couple
not at all. Yeah, exactly. It does affect your training, whether you like it or not, but it does, yeah. And second girl, she's very good. She taught me CrossFit basically. So yeah.
Did she go to the games?
No, the first one did. She's my friend. I actually did a competition with her.
Oh, you're dropping names now, Bobby. Yeah, she's my friend. My friend went to the games.
Her name is Jessica. We did a team competition once together, and we got first place. So that was great. And then she went on to do the CrossFit Games.
How did she get on?
Well, the first workout it was, do you remember, with the legless rope climbs and the heavy snatches,
the running.
And I think on the second round she suffered on the legless rope climbs.
She got stuck on.
Yeah, and it was tough for a lot of girls really. And God, I can't even do that. She
got unfortunately cut in the first cut, was it?
Yeah, she did. Yeah.
Okay, did she pay for everything to get over there herself, or did she
paid for the flights? She paid for the flights, obviously, and I'm not sure about the accommodation, but she got so many like free gear, with Nobles, Reeboks, lifters, everything. Just she got so much gear.
And you could wear whatever you wanted that year, didn't you?
Wear what?
You could wear whatever you want. You weren't given a full outfit.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. And she's also now sponsored by ComTrain. So,
How would you fly to
Malta or there?
No, there. Where was it? Madison.
From Malta.
Would you go Malta, London? Over
yeah, you have to fly to London.
How long is the flight to Malta?
How would you
from here?
It's a direct flight, and it takes about 3 hours and a half.
It's a direct flight.
Yeah.
Where is it? You're just off the coast of Italy, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Just below Sicily. Yeah.
Did you go to Italy much?
I did. Yeah, I actually competed there, and I went to Sicily a couple of times. That's it. Yeah.
On holidays.
Well, other competitions. I was a CrossFit head back then. So every time I went, it was for a competition. Yeah.
Guys, that's all for this week. I had lucky enough to have the wonderful Roberta Tabone telling us all about her category. All her categories. Guys, thanks very much for listening. Thanks for all the shares and all the love that we're getting on it. We do very much appreciate it. Of course, as we're saying, stay positive, keep testing negative.
Testing negative. Can I?
Be strong.